webcast at www.sacmetrocable.tv. The open session meetings are also available for viewing on the district website at www.metrofire.ca.gov. And I have one announcement. We are going to move consent items 2 and 3 to action items 1 and 2. And with that being announced, I'd like to entertain a motion for the consent items remaining.
Madam Chair, I move the consent agenda.
It's been first and seconded. Please call the roll, Madam Clerk.
Director Gale.
No.
Gould.
Aye.
Orzali.
Aye.
Sheets.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
And Jones.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, we're moving to presentation items. We have a certificate of commendation, and I believe it's Chief Harm's item.
Captain Vestal will start off with this portion. I will meet with our first.
Good evening, Director Jones, members of the board, Chief Harms. This is unique tonight. We get to recognize one of our community emergency response team members, and we have 150 people, community members that we've trained. And last year in 2017, they volunteered over 1,100 hours, and they perform support for various events like marathons, emergency events like sandbags, and other types of disasters that happen within Metro Fire's jurisdiction. So we'd like to recognize all of the members of CERT, and many of them are here tonight, for all the work they do and all the time that they spend supporting Metro Fire and serving the community. But specifically, we'd like to recognize one member who went a little bit above and beyond from what they normally do. Part of their training includes first aid and other basic emergency response type training. And with that CPR training, one of their CERT members was called into action. So in October of last year, on October 15th, Michael Meza, one of our CERT members, if you don't mind standing up, feel free. Join the fire chief. He was at home, and he had a knock at his door from an 11-year-old neighbor. And this 11-year-old neighbor was panicking and asking for help. So Michael did what he was trained to do and went next door. And as always, just like firefighters and our law enforcement partners, where they were prepared to take action. So he carries a CPR mask and other PPE with him at all times. And when he got next door, he found a 33-year-old neighbor who was unresponsive in the home. And so he immediately took action and started performing chest compressions and CPR on this unresponsive person. And he did that until Engine 32 and Medic 32 arrived, and he assisted them with transferring care and giving that patient the best possible chance to have a positive outcome. One of the most unique things about this is Michael was transported the night before by that exact same crew that responded to this call that he was now acting as a responder on. So he heard the familiar voices, and they recognized him, and they were able to work towards providing the patient a possible positive outcome. Michael's been trained in CPR since he was 10 years old, but this was the first chance he had to actually perform CPR. And not only that, he was doing it by himself and had to spring into action without any kind of advance warning, just kind of like when we get calls. So that's pretty unique for a CERT member. So it is with honor and a privilege for me to allow Chief Harms to present Mr. Meza with a certificate of commendation for his quick and decisive actions in providing CPR to a member of our community as a member of Metro Fire.
That's really cool. They don't want a photo bomb.
Michael, thank you for your actions. It is a lot to go through training and be able to be prepared to do it. But a lot of times it's how am I going to react under that pressure. And it's obvious is that for you is when unfortunately someone's knocking at your door and they're asking for help. Thank you for doing that and for being responsive and doing that. Also I want to say is thank you for what you do with the CERT program and being involved with it. I've walked around and talked to a few of you that are here. Thank you. Thank you to each one of you for your involvement. I think for me, being somewhat new, one of the first interactions I had with all of you was at the air show. And being there and being a part of it, thank you for that portions of it. You all represent Metro Fire every single day out there. What you did here, I'm sure that all of you, if that opportunity, unfortunate opportunity came forward, you would be in that position to go forward and do it also. So, Michael, again, thank you very much. All of you from the CERT team, thank you for being here. Thank you for what you do every single day out there.
And if I may, Captain Cornell would like all of you to get a picture when we get a break, all the CERT members with Michael and the CERT team captain coordinators. So don't run away.
Madam Chair, as we did
Yes, sir.
recognize one of the CERT team members today, I think that all of them deserve a hand.
Yes, please stand. And would all the members of the CERT team? Come on. Oh, don't be shy. Come on. Woo!
No.
Thank you all very, very much. Congratulations to Mike and to each and every member of the team. We appreciate it very much. All right. Our first action item is a purchase approval, 2018 Pierce Hazmat Unit. The recommendation to approve the purchase of the hazmat unit from Pierce Manufacturing in the amount of $952,842 and change. And Chief Shannon is here to give us probably a recap. We've seen some of these issues. We've seen this equipment before.
Right, and good evening, Director Jones, Board, Chief Arms, Brian Shannon, Deputy Chief of Support Services. And that's exactly it. I was just going to give up here and give a little for action item, which would be 1 and 2 tonight. A little bit of an overview just on the HGAC, and that's a kind of a term I'm not sure everybody's heard. And it's the contracting services, and I'll just give you a little overview of what that is. The purchase that we have, or that we've had in the past, are available through a cooperative purchasing agreement with the Houston Galveston Area Council. HGAC is a nationwide government-to-government procurement service with over 40 years of experience in the specialized, which is capital-intensive type of products and services. They serve over 6,500 members. They have approximately 37 major categories of products and services, and they choose from over 800 qualified, very highly qualified contractors. All the products and services go through that HGAC contract have been awarded by virtue basically public competitive bid responses. And within that HGAC framework, we have a cooperating purchasing program they call HGAC Buy, and that's what Metro Fire is part of. Metro Fire has been part of it approximately about 5 years. We've done most of our major large purchases like you see here tonight through that cooperative agreement. Recently, I know we've had a show and tell with the rescue recently, I think in the last year, and we have a ladder truck showing up. Those are type of purchases that we've used this agreement with. So with that on item number 1, we recommend the board approve the purchase of the hazmat unit from Pierce Manufacturing in the sum of $952,842.46.
All right, thank you. Are there any
Any questions? Yeah.
Director Gould?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Chief, for just a brief moment, can you explain to the citizens the unique nature of this particular piece of equipment? It's very unique in my mind beyond what we see in a traditional engine. And I think the price may get some folks a little bit nervous of why we're spending that kind of money. But can you just briefly describe for them what we're actually doing?
What you're getting is basically what we call our hazardous material unit. We do double that. That also works as a truck. So that has a dual purpose for any hazardous material type of calls within our jurisdiction and outside of our jurisdiction. They do call us for some specialty type of incidents that we do respond to. And it also is its everyday first out truck over in the Carmichael area at Station 109 that responds to thousands of structure fires and EMS calls. So it's a very well-used piece of equipment that we have. We'd like to keep those, currently the hazmat unit's a 2004. We'd like to keep them about 15 years on a what we call a frontline basis. If this gets awarded tonight, we purchase, it's about an 18-month process once they get all the specs covered. So we're looking at about a 15 to 16-year front line for this piece of apparatus, which will, in turn, will go into reserve status in hopefully about 18 months. It's give or take, depending on production at Pierce Manufacturing.
These are the kinds of units, Chief, that go to things like rail car derailments and very sophisticated calls in the sense of a very specialized team shows up. Isn't that correct?
Correct. It's a hazmat unit. We have 55 members of the hazmat team in this organization that have gone through extensive training, extra schooling, and they continuously train pretty much every shift all year, 24/7. And they do, and the region has used our hazmat rig numerous times to go along with the other regional hazmat, which is in the city. They've done a lot of work over the years.
Thank you.
Any other questions or
I have a
comments?
question.
Yes, sir. Director Gale.
Procurement analyst and management analyst for DOD. I request for an exception to competitive business procedure. There has to be extenuating circumstance to go to this procedure. That's one of the last resorts we go to. What is the reason why we'll have to go without competition?
I believe, is the question you wanted, why do we go with HGAC?
No, non-competitive bidding.
Right. So, and basically what that form's telling us there is we fill that out to let everybody know that we have the capability to use this HGAC contract, a government-to-government contract. That's exactly what it means. So we're not gonna go out. We go out to competitive bidding, but HGAC is doing our competitive bidding for us, basically. That's what the over 800 contractors around the country, they're the ones that get the best price. Let me give you an example of that. Hazmat unit's pretty specific, and we like Pierce Manufacturing. In our organization, most of our trucks and engines are Pierce, from Pierce Manufacturing. What they do is they go out to competitive bid all over the country. We have a local Pierce representative in Sacramento that we use directly. But HGAC allows us to go throughout the country. So I'll give you an example. If there's a hazmat rig through a Pierce manufacturer in Florida, Texas, any other state, and they come in with a better price, our local competitor will get that best price. They will honor that best price. So it is competitive bidding. We're just going through this process with HGAC to do it.
As I say, it's good for DOD, and the only exception was the Chief of Department of Defense who can make an exception. It could be a pencil, but were there any other bidders there?
Oh, there's hundreds of bidders.
Yeah, how many were? You have any idea?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know that. The contract's 72 pages, and I'll be honest with you, Director Gill, I didn't read the fine print. So I know there was a lot of bidders, but I don't know how
Other
many.
bidders, and these came out to be the best.
This came out to be the best, and the key is
This
our,
threw me when we say non-competitive,
right, it is competitive through HGAC.
of course. That's what I would have
Yeah,
scratched out.
sorry to,
Yeah,
for the
thank you.
confusion.
Thank you for delineating that. Thank you. Are there any other directors with questions or comments? If not, Chair will entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I make a motion we adopt.
I second.
It's been first and seconded. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Director Gale.
Yes.
Gould.
Aye.
Orzali. Aye. Sheets.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
And Jones.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, on to action item number 2. And I believe Chief Shannon, you'll continue with this one?
Correct, and it's under the same format with the HGAC. We're buying 5 Type 6s. I want to make sure I get that correct. 5 Type 6 apparatus. That's more of our grass rigs that we call it, a smaller unit, through Boise Mobile Equipment. We went through the same process with the HGAC process, and we recommend that you approve for a total of 5 units at $905,362.82, if my eyes are correct.
Oh, well, I can loan you my glasses.
I got
but
mine
think
here,
you
but
got
I
it
gotta
right,
pull-
Chief. You got it right. All righty. Is there any comment or question on this? And if not, Chair will entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I make a motion we adopt the resolution.
First and seconded. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Director Gale.
Yes.
Gould.
Aye.
Orzali.
Aye.
Sheets. Aye. Clark.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
And Jones.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, thank you very much. Now we're going to move on to report items. Number one is President's report, but there is, I have nothing to report on behalf of the President. So we will move to item number 2, Fire Chief's report.
Good evening, board members. It's been a busy couple of weeks. As far as my report tonight, we have a recruitment that is open right now for our logistics technician. On April 13th through April 18th, myself, Chief Johnson, who is not able to be here tonight because of an illness, Chief Casantini, Jeff Fry, Director Barnes, Director Gould, and Director Sheets, we all attended the Cap to Cap in Washington, D.C. First off, I just want to say that my thanks to Chief Johnson and Jeff Fry for the work that they did in organizing the trip and putting together our papers, putting together the agenda items and the meetings of that we had while we were there. Chief Johnson really took the lead on the public safety side on both police and fire and pulled it together, and he did just a phenomenal job. We've already voted. He is the leader for next year. Some of the highlights of the trip is that we had an opportunity to meet with some grant folks while we were there. We met with the U.S. Fire Administrator. His name is Keith Bryant. He was the fire chief from Oklahoma City. Spent over 6 years there. We had we probably had an hour and a half meeting with Chief Bryant about where the fire service is today and some of the challenges that he saw in the future. We hooked up and kind of teamed up with the healthcare group and had some good meetings with healthcare, and where basically our EMS service kind of crosses over with healthcare. We had a really good meeting with Ami Berra. He was with us, very prepared with his book and some very good questions about where we're at. The Homeland Security Committee, the House Majority and Minority Energy and Committee on Health and Healthcare, and the Homeland or the House Energy and Commerce Committee on Healthcare. We met on both sides of there. Along with one of the things that I have gotten personally is the amount of networking that happens with the local folks that are there. So again, it was a very productive trip and a very positive trip. This past couple weeks, along with our CFO, we've been going through the 2018-19 preliminary budget. I believe we are at a place that is very close to being able to start taking the pencil off it and putting some ink into it as we move forward. The last one is I just passed along is that Chief Mark Wells was here today, and he wanted me to say hi to each of you. Mark came to me a few weeks ago, and he is doing a program along with Metro Fire down on Watt Avenue at the river. And it's about kind of a safety program for fishing and with waders. And there's a number of folks, and we've teamed up together. So Mark, even in retirement, is still connected and still giving back to the community in water safety right now. That ends my report.
Thank you very much. Do we have an ops report? Thank you, Chief. Do we have an ops report? Welcome, Chief.
Good evening, Directors. Eric Bridge, Deputy Chief Operations. Just talk a little bit about some training here in a moment, but since our last report on April 20th, though, we have run total calls is about 3,850, and of those we have 2,870 of those dispatches were for EMS-related calls, of which we're transporting 74% of the time, just to keep you up on the standard numbers there. Not too much of a alter from our regular trend. With that, though, I did want to talk our copter, our our gentlemen that are working on the helicopter right now are going through their annual hoist training. So that's taking place this week, which is a very critical part of what we do. So that's going on through the whole entire week. And they're going to be airborne for the winter or for the fire season coming up here in about a week or two. Also happening out at McClellan this week is it's an annual program that the U.S. Forest Service has to train on. It's called a MAFS. It's a mobile airborne firefighting system. So it rotates in 3 locations throughout the United States throughout every year. So every 3rd year it comes to McClellan. So we're fortunate, and part of that is because we do have an ARF program here. So it's in order for that training to take place, it has to take place at an area that does have a certified ARF program, which we do. So unfortunately, one of our members, Captain Jason Vestal, he's a safety officer on that team at the airfield. So CAL FIRE, they run that whole program there and they contract with the U.S., not contract, they work with the U.S. Forest Service. So what the MAFS is, so I just give you a brief history of what that is you've probably seen on television during wildland fire season those large DC-10s, C-130s dropping retardant. So the DC-10s are usually a private company that contracts with the Forest Service to drop that retardant. But during high peak times, during fire season, those DC-10s and those private companies are busy and there's not enough. So what they're able to do with these, with the modular, it's actually modular airborne firefighting system. With that modular system, they're able to insert those into C-130 military aircraft. So it's a mobile piece, or some would say modular piece, that's inserted into the military aircraft. So it's generally the Air National Guard that we train with, or I'm sorry, I'll say the Forest Service trains with, and they open that up and they insert this modular airborne system into it, and they're able to fill that thing up in about 12 minutes with 3,000 gallons of retardant, at which point they fly their missions wherever they need to. So, and then it's nice to be a part of that, and we continue to develop those relationships with not only local and state, but also our national partners for the firefighting service. So that's going on all week, should be completed by Sunday. And once again, we're out there training with everybody. And that's what we do when we're not providing the service, and they're doing a great job out there. And I just want to take an opportunity to thank certain members too. Really appreciate what you do, and I look forward to seeing you more. So that's what I have for ops report, unless you have any questions.
Okay.
One question. For those that aren't familiar with the term ARF, go ahead and explain it.
Airport Rescue Firefighting. So what that is they're trained. So we have different types of equipment. So we talked about the hazmat unit, then we have a fire engine, then we have a fire truck, and then we have a heavy rescue rig, and we also have ARF units, and we have helicopters and bulldozers. So the ARF is a specialized piece of equipment that's usually stationed at most airports throughout the country, and they are able to provide a special response to be able to provide a certain amount of foam or firefighting retardant that will help prevent and suppress any kind of flammable liquid spills, because obviously with aircraft incident, you're going to get a tremendous amount of fuel that will be on fire, of which water generally doesn't suppress the way we'd like to. So specialized rigs called ARF rigs are deployed to suppress those types of fires. And hopefully that addresses most of what that is. All right. All right.
Thank you very much for explaining all those terms. It is very informative, Chief. Thank
Good.
you. Thank you,
Thank
Chief
you.
Bridge. All right, next up, we have item number 3 under reports, SMFD Firefighters Local 522. Welcome to the podium.
Good evening, Board, Chief Harms and staff. I'm John Barsdale, I'm Director of Local 522. I only have a few items tonight. I'm proud to announce that the district and the local have put together a catastrophic leave. It's already up and running. We had 216 people donate to the fund, and currently 2 members are utilizing it. The local will be going to the CPF conference to support former President Brian Rice for his run for the CPF president. That will occur next week. We all leave on the 2nd. We hope Brian's successful, and we believe his election will be great for all of California and the local region, as well as Metro Fire. Negotiations begin tomorrow, and we're looking forward to it. We look forward to working to advance the goals of the membership and have move Metro Fire forward. That's all I have to report tonight. If you have any questions.
Any questions? All right. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate your input. All right, item number 4 under reports, we go to committee and delegate reports. The executive committee does not have a meeting scheduled at this time. Communications Center, JPA. Speaking for Johnson, AC Johnson.
I don't think any of, are you have us? Sure,
Special
okay.
meeting,
There he is.
well, you know, we got to share the podium time.
Yeah,
here.
I can't tell you when they met last, but according to this, they meet again Wednesday, April 26th, 9 o'clock.
25th, maybe?
They met yesterday.
Oh, they met yesterday, I'm sorry.
yesterday.
That's
And
it,
I'm sure
Director
it was a very
Jones. These
successful.
are going on. These
Oh,
are going
here you go.
on.
Here you go, Chief.
They
I'm
gotta
sure-
go on, I can't see. Trying to fight it, it's not working.
Yeah, I apologize. I could have helped you out and put on my glasses sooner as well and
Sorry,
stated.
stand corrected, they had a special meeting yesterday, April 25th, and Chief Johnson, I have not heard any report from him on that.
All right.
to
Well, we
report.
didn't get any 911 calls, so we must be all right on it.
Right.
All right. Thank you, Chief.
Stay there.
I'm gonna,
Yeah. Here you go. California Fire and Rescue Training, JPA.
the JPA has not met for some time. We will meet June 21st at 4 o'clock across the hall at the CESC.
Thank you, Chief. All right. Finance and Audit Committee, Director Kelly.
Yes, the Finance and Audit Committee met earlier this evening. We received a report, financial report up to February 28th, and there are a few things that are looking up, and we're just hoping they continue.
Sir, thank you very much. Policy Committee, Director Gould.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The illustrious group of the Policy Committee will be joining forces on May 10th. Please be there.
All right. And because we have 2 closed session items, shall we go ahead and take board member questions and comments at this time? And then when we go to closed session, we can let everyone go home to enjoy the rest of their evening. So a little bit of a change up. Let's alternate back and forth on each end. And so Director Kelly, do you have some comments for us, please?
I would, again, like to offer my appreciation for the CERT members. The Community Emergency Response Team is something that this community, I've seen them on fires, and I have seen the work that they do. Thank you again, and Metro Fire is a better organization because of you.
Well said, thank you. Director Gale.
This is Chief Holmes. For some reason, Johnson, I haven't been able to find out the location or any communication on going out to the communication center. And I've made that request for quite some time.
What was what
Communication center.
you want to go see it?
Oh, yes, we discussed
Okay.
it at the last meeting and before that, and he's, for some reason, he hasn't been able to put it together, something.
Okay, we'll get you a trip over there.
Right, and that's a great place to visit and check out. It's excellent. It's excellent. So, Director Clark.
I have no comment,
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair.
Director Gould.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to echo the comments of my colleague relative to the CERT team. It's really awesome to see all of you, and having been out to the air show a couple times when it was 1,000 degrees, it's pretty awesome to see you all here in a little better shape than maybe then, but it's really awesome. I think the work you do is really important in the community, and I'm very proud of all the work, and it's nice to be a director and come out there and interact with all of you and see what you're doing for folks that maybe we don't have the space right now to do. But I'm really proud of all of you. Thank you very much. And to the young man that received an accommodation tonight, I just want to let you know if there's some circle back with that experience that maybe you're not used to. I hope Metro Fire can reach out to you and make sure that there's some support for you having gone through that experience. It's sometimes very telling. And some of us are a little more used to it than others. And so I hope that if you need that you reach out to us so that we can continue to make you whole in that regard. Beyond that, I just wanted to thank my colleagues that went to Cap. What an awesome experience that I missed last year and got to do this year. because I'm alive, frankly. But that was really awesome. And to build the relationships, I think the chief mentioned it, that's really priceless. I know there's some concern about some of the expenditures, but at the end of the day, when you can have a half-hour uninterrupted time with a Congress member, that's pretty priceless. And then time with our mayors and CEOs of our healthcare organizations. I mean, you just simply don't get that unless you do these kinds of things. And so I think this is money that is well spent with a large return of investment to this organization. The relationships are gigantic. And I was really proud to walk into rooms and people knew who Metro Fire was. They knew the standards that we were expecting. And I think they understood that what we were telling them was honest and truthful. And you could sense that in some of the leadership that we interacted with. So this is a wonderful thing, and I know it will continue long into the future. And thank you to Chief Johnson and Chief Harms and all the other folks that were involved. It was a really awesome experience for me as a freshman, which now I'm no longer. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Congratulations on that promotion. Director Orzale.
Thank you. I just wanted to comment on the creation of that medical leave program between 522 and Metro Fire. I have seen those programs in the past and make a huge difference to people. And I appreciate the fact that we have the program, and regretfully we have 2 people who are using it, but thank God we have the program. So thank you.
All right. Director Sheets.
I wanted to echo the statements of Director Kelly and Director Gould regarding our CERT team. Thank you for what you do. And also thank you for the opportunity to attend Cap to Cap, and I'm no longer a freshman either.
All right. Thank you very much. I concur with all the comments that my colleagues have made. And with that, we will adjourn the open session meeting.
I have one question, Madam President.
Sure.
You mentioned Cap to Cap and the cost of it. Do you have any idea what was the cost and how those people were chosen to go? Chief?
Yes, we have a line item budget for 3 folks to be able to go. Off the top of my head, I can't tell 3 directors to go, so I can't tell you the exact amount in there, but I can show you that. The choice on this year's was myself and President Wood at the time went through and looked at the agenda items, looked at people that had gone in the past and people that had not attended in the past, and picked 3 folks to attend.
But we still, and I would like to see, I made a request for the individual amount had been spent for the different directors over the years, and I'm still asking you to come to Division 1 whenever you can see fit.
I'd be happy to come up there. I will be gone for just a little bit here coming up. I do believe we gave you a copy of the budget items specific for the board of directors.
I never got it for individuals. I'm from an organization, it was by individuals, and it was done monthly, and I think it worked rather well. Okay.
I'll just say that in the past, our practice has always been is that it is not individual budgets per director, but the board has an overall budget item. If the board directs us to change that, we can change it to individuals, but the way that the history is for Metro Fire is that the budgeted item is in one category, and then we manage it out of that category accordingly.
See, when you do that kind of stuff, you get bills. And a great district like Sacramento Suburban, monthly, they expense that, and for the purpose of it, I think it's by law, whatever you use expenditures for any activity, it must be for the people of that district and nothing else. I don't see anything that such a secret about it, and it should be a public. It is a public document, and I will request that.
Okay, we'll send it again then.
You bet. Thank you
All right.
very much.
Thank you for your comments.
got
Appreciate
it.
that. Now we are adjourned. Thank you very much. You know what? Thank you for that.